You are watching the Jennylyn Show, and I am Jennylyn Gleave, your host. And today I am so happy to share my guest with you. Her name is Suzanne Brown, and she is the daughter of our former mayor of San Francisco, Mr. Willie Brown. And just like her father, she's very inspiring and awesome and has so many wonderful things to share with us. Suzanne, thank you so much for coming on my show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I know it was a long drive, but hopefully you'll have as much fun with this as I am already. So, Suzanne, you want to tell us, you have a project that you're working on with your father at the moment. Would you like to tell us about that?
Sure, yes. I work for my father in his Institute of Politics and Public Service, and my title is the Director of Special Projects. And my special project is that I have worked with the San Francisco Boys Chorus for 8 years.
Wow.
Putting together a diversity program for them. And then we decided to move from San Francisco because it was doing very well, and on to Oakland to the Pacific Boy Choir. And what we do is we go into the public schools. We met with the superintendent of schools. We go into the public schools, and she identified which schools needed for us to identify kids who would benefit from an opportunity to sing with the Pacific Boy Choir. So we audition kindergarten, first and second grade boys. And then if they have the right voice, we invite them to be on the Willie Brown Scholarship at the Pacific Boy Choir in Oakland. And then they stay in the Pacific Boy Choir in the after-school program. And then ideally we like to move them and find a scholarship for them, funding for them to stay and be in part of the regular programming, which is amazing because they have singing in the morning, and then they have all of their tours are all over the world, and whatever they're learning in history relates to what they're singing. So it's a wonderful school and a great opportunity.
It sounds like it. Where did the idea come from? Is somebody in your family in the music field?
Well, everyone's an artist in our family, but the idea came from actually the San Francisco Boys Chorus. They contacted our office and they said they needed help diversifying the chorus, and we said we'd love to help. And we merged with them and became partners with them and developed this program that ran very successfully for 8 years. And then when it was running very successfully, we decided to expand to Oakland. So we did. And I run the program in Oakland.
That is so awesome. And I am imagining in the future it will spread to other areas. Hopefully other people will catch on and do the same thing.
Ideally, yeah, because it's very rewarding to see that, they're only kindergarten boys, but as they grow, they change and they get exposed to so much when they travel and go to camp and all those things. So it's pretty great, and so I really love doing that.
Yes, because at that age, when you start something, you start instilling some level of discipline.
Discipline and also
camaraderie,
and they make friends that they might not have made in other places, and then when they get to be a little bit older, they get to travel. Like right now, currently, the Pacific Boy Choir boys are in Vietnam.
They are?
They are. They travel every single year. They take an international tour.
And how do they raise the funding for this?
They have fundraisers and people contribute, and they just raise the money, and then the kids go.
What a great opportunity! I think part of the problem with our country now is young people, most of them, don't really have a purpose. So this is great when you can find something that you love and build on that.
And then they also sing with the symphony, and they have performances all over the East Bay and also San Francisco, all over the Bay Area. And so they get a chance to learn performance as well. I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity, and it makes me very proud to help them on their road.
Congratulations! That is such a great
cause.
Thank you. You've got so many great causes, and we only have half an hour, and I don't want to miss out on anything. So I wanted to ask you about you're also a film producer.
I am. I'm a filmmaker, a director and producer. I've been a filmmaker for about 8 years, a documentary film. I became a filmmaker because I have a degree, went to USC, and I have a degree in film a master's degree in film from USC. And then from there, I've always had to work. filmmaking could never be my even though it's my biggest passion, it could never be my full-time job. So I always had to work, but I would work and then have an opportunity to make another film. And the latest film I made was a film that has a working title of Listen to the Children. The Bayview Opera House invited myself as a filmmaker to go to, and also my former partner, Teal Sievers. And we went to Senegal and we went to Paris. Wow. And we followed 10-year-olds there. And they got a chance, they had that opportunity because of their artwork. They got chosen because of their art to go to Paris and to Senegal, to have an art opening in Paris and an art opening in Senegal.
How awesome
It was 10 little 10-year-olds. And now those 10-year-olds are now 20 years old. It's been 10 years. So now what I'm doing is I'm raising the money to finish the film, and I want to go back and interview those children, now as young adults, to see where they are with their lives since that program.
So like me, you guys are passionate about empowering children. I really love it. I think it's so great.
Absolutely.
So the documentaries that you've made apart from this one, can you tell us a little bit about them and where we could find them?
I made a few of about my father for different fundraisers that we had, and we made a couple of that were funny and very tongue-in-cheek, and a couple that were very serious. And then I'm dyslexic, and I made a film. My first film is called The D Word, and it's about adult dyslexia, what it's like to be an adult working in the world way past college and be dyslexic and have to figure things out every single day. So I made that film.
I'd love to see it. I think I am too.
They're not for distribution. I never distributed them. So the way to see them is to contact me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't think you would help other people by sharing it with them?
I would love to share them, but people can, if they contact me, I can probably send them a copy in some kind of form that's not really dated, because I made them over a long period of time.
Okay, they're not on YouTube.
No, they're definitely not on YouTube.
Okay, okay.
They're definitely in VHS form and DVD form.
So what made you decide to start making documentaries?
I decided to make documentaries. I went to USC and I got in, and at USC they have a program where you have the opportunity, you have to compete for the opportunity to make a narrative film or make a documentary film. And I felt that my talent would be best with documentaries.
Okay.
So I competed. Out of 100 people, 100 people compete. 3 documentaries are chosen every semester, and I was one of the 3.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome. You should have it out there so people could see it.
I mean, I probably could transfer it to DVD and then put it up on YouTube. And so I made that I started with a topic I knew that was from my heart, which was about being an adult dyslexic. And so I made that one, and then I made a couple more, and then a couple more, and here I am. I haven't done it that often. I made 8 films, 8 half-hour documentary films.
So what is your goal? Do you want to continue doing this, or is this something you do because you're passionate about it? What's your goal with your documentaries
I would love to do documentary film full time if I could, but it's a very difficult business. You have to work hard, and then once you're finished, you have to raise the money to do production. You have to raise the money to do post-production. Then when that's done, then you have to raise more money for marketing, and then try to get your films to film festivals and trying to get it out there. And I have to make a regular living as well, which is why I never became a full-time documentary filmmaker.
And I think that's true for most people too, because all of it costs so much money. And like if you have to follow people in other countries, it becomes really expensive.
Yeah, and you have to hire crews, and then when it's all done, you have to market it. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of time, and you have no money coming in. So I didn't become a full-time filmmaker, but I still truly love it. And if I could make a film a year or a film every 2 years, that would be perfectly fine.
Well, you will, because I see the passion and the drive, and I think that's a big part of accomplishing the goal. Like me, like you, I am passionate about interviewing people and doing these shows, right. And I always find a way to do it. So I think we're going to be sitting watching one of your documentaries soon in a movie theater somewhere. I see it. So your other project that you're working on apart from your filmmaking is?
My other project is I have a small company that is a blend between a customized tour company and a special events company, but on a very small scale.
Okay.
My company's called Beyond the Fog, and the way that it happened was my father, I worked for my father, and he asked me, and he's a lawyer now, among other things, and he said, I have a client coming to town, they want to go to Alcatraz by themselves at night. And he said, please get it done. I said, okay. So I had to figure out who ran Alcatraz and everything. So that took me a few weeks to figure that out. Once I figured that out, I met with the Golden Gate National Park and Recreation. And I said, okay, my father has someone who wants to go to Alcatraz at night by themselves. And this is about 3 years ago, before Alcatraz had their nighttime tours. And they said, well, we've never done this, but let's discuss it and then we'll try to make it happen. So they did, and they figured it out. And as the last public boat came in, the gentleman and his date were waiting on the shore with the park ranger. And
wow.
I arranged wine and cheese for them on the boat. And they got on the boat, and then they rowed across with the park ranger, and then they had a 3-hour tour at night, just them, and thought it was the most awesome tour that they've ever taken. So then I said, well, I wonder if other people would want to do that if I spent the summer introducing myself to all of the iconic places in San Francisco and also all of our museums and our theater and all of that. So I started speaking to everyone, and I said, if I had the right client, is there anything that you would want to create that could be, very, very special, sort of a behind-the-scenes look of San Francisco? And everyone was amenable and very excited. So then I said, okay, if I take the photographs of all of your beautiful, things that you have, is that okay? And they were like, of course it's okay. May I put that on the website? Of course you may. So now I have a list of things that people can do that are behind the scenes, that are really, really interesting, and that really show off San Francisco. I'm a native San Franciscan, and I love my city. So it really shows people San Francisco from a native person's point of view.
That is really awesome. I mean, Alcatraz at night?
Yeah.
I think that'd be so spooky, but they loved it.
They loved it. They loved it. And so, and things so between a combination between some of the contacts I have because of my father's position and some of my own contacts, I'm able to create, I said it's very one-on-one. There's no turnkey package.
Right.
There's no turnkey set price. It's sort of like having a tailor-made dress for you. Someone will contact me and I'll say, okay, what are you looking for? Do you have children? What kind of experience are you looking for? So we created a cooking workshop once for these children that were visiting from Australia, and they had it was a 14-year-old boy and a 15-year-old boy, and one of the children had a lot of allergies, but he loved baking. So a friend of mine is a chef, had her own company for a long time, and she's an excellent chef. We rented a state-of-the-art, beautiful kitchen in North Beach that was all sunlit and gorgeous. And I escorted them and I introduced them to Jenny Houston, my friend who's the expert. I leave them alone. They do their baking workshop.
Right.
Then they left and they went to lunch. Then when lunch was over, Chief White Hayes, the fire chief, was kind enough to allow them to go on a 2-hour cruise with 7 firemen on the fireboat.
Can I go on that cruise? How do we arrange it?
That's something that I can only do once in a while because it's all favors.
Right.
So they did that. And then I'm on the board of the Maritime Museum. And the Maritime Museum manages the beautiful original boats out there by Ghirardelli Square off of High Street Pier. And because I'm on the board, they did a favor for me and they allowed them to go into the submarine after hours in the evening time and take a 2-hour, not cruise, but a 2-hour tour with one of our former board members. So there's different things like that that I can do. Most of them are one, you know, just I can only do it once and I can't really repeat it, but that's fine because that means that everyone is getting their own special customized tour.
I think it's so wonderful that, you know, that you tried and how much you can accomplish when you try. There's so many times in our lives we just decide something isn't going to happen because it falls outside the box.
Right.
So we don't do it and it never gets done. But look how much you've accomplished just by trying.
Well, thank you.
How do you feel that being the daughter of Willie Brown helps your life?
Well, I mean, my father's been my father my whole life.
Right.
You know, and he's my father. And so I feel very much that I didn't grow up any differently than anyone else.
Right.
I wanted to be an actress when I was much younger and have my first degree. My BFA is in theater from NYU.
Okay.
So I lived on the East Coast from age of when I was 20 all the way for 2 decades. I lived on the East Coast.
Okay.
So like anyone being raised by anyone, I'm very proud of my father. I'm very proud of my mother. I'm very proud of our family. But it's not that different than anyone else's family.
Yes, because I was going to ask you, that was a question that was burning on the tip of my lips. What was it like to be the daughter of somebody who is as accomplished and famous as he is? And did it ever affect you? I mean, I'm sure you had both negative and positive experiences as a result of it.
I mean, basically, it's the same as anyone else being raised by their parents. You value your family, you love your family, and you take to very seriously and in deep heart what it is that they're guiding you to do. And my parents have always guided us to be who we are, to be very, very honest, very kind, and also shoot for the moon because you might just get there.
Exactly. And I believe in that 100%.
So because of that, I've been very lucky to be raised in that way, and I try to impart that on the kids that I work with at the San Francisco Boys Chorus at the time, and then the Pacific Boy Choir. I don't have children of my own, so I try to instill what I've learned from my parents onto them for the 2 hours that I have them.
That is awesome. That is seriously awesome. So many people that I know of who have no children, some of them have no patience or care for other kids. They're like, I don't have kids, and they don't want to deal with it. So I really admire someone like you who says, I don't have any of my own, but what I've learned, I want to impart into a young person coming up, and hopefully will make a difference in their life.
And when I was working with the San Francisco Boys Chorus, we started with 8 little boys, and it grew to 26 boys. And that group was really, I was there for every single rehearsal and every performance.
Like a parent.
Like a parent. And then I would invite the parents to also parent monitor all the kids, not just their kids, but all the kids during performances. So when the kids were acting really crazy and goofy and
Bratty.
running around, and
Like
they had to learn how to be really, really still, like backstage and stuff. When they would misbehave, I would use myself as punishment. So I would say, okay, stop running, or are you going to sit next to me? Do you want to sit next to me? And they're like, no. I said, okay, then stop running. Okay, Miss Brown. And then if they push the boundaries, I would put, a little boy next to me, and then I would keep reading and just ignore him until he was just losing his mind. And then I would say, okay, can you behave now? Yes, we can behave. And there was one time where we provide transportation for the kids as well. And we have a bus driver and a bus monitor. And the kids were just running all over the rules on the bus. So I got on the bus and the bus driver said, please help me because I can't control the kids. And we're going to get into an accident because the kids are acting so wild. I said, okay. So I got on the bus and I said, do you guys want me? I made them sit in silence for 5 minutes, which killed them. And then I said, okay.
How did you do that?
I just said, you're going to be quiet for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I said, if I ride the bus, this is how the bus is going to be the entire ride. Do you want me to ride the bus? No, no, no. So then So then I said, okay, then you will mind the bus driver and your bus monitor as if I'm there. And they have me on speed dial. And if you don't mind them, they're going to call me and I'm going to find you and I'm going to get on the bus and we will ride in silence. So learn how to behave on the bus or I'm going to make you sit silently and I'm going to ride the bus. Do you understand? And they were like, yes. So
I'm sure those parents just love you.
I made myself the punishment as opposed to any other,
Right.
I don't like punishment.
Yes.
But if silence and sitting next to the adult is your punishment, that's not so bad.
Well, you sound like you really know how to deal with kids. Do you ever feel like maybe you should have been a school teacher or something? You seem amazing with them.
I really love working with children, but there are people who can educate much better. I'm better off starting programs,
Right.
using whatever resources I have to raise money for a program, let it flourish and bloom on its own, and then go to the next one. And that way I feel I can be more effective, or one can be more effective with lots and lots and lots of kids, as opposed to being in one classroom.
So a lot of kids, you've worked with a lot of kids over the years, it sounds like.
I have.
Now, it sounds like a lot of them started when they were young and now they're older. Do you look at them now and feel like, gosh, I'm so glad I played a part in this person's life?
When I see them, I mean, a couple of them have graduated from high school. They're in college, and it's amazing because now they're like, hello, Miss Brown. And it's amazing. I'm like, wow. Like I've gone to a couple of high school graduations, and I went to one graduation, and the last time I saw him, he was probably here, and now he's much taller, and he's going to begin in a community college and then probably jump to another college, but he's not quite ready for the big transformation of going off to a university yet.
I have noticed quite a few people I've spoken to in my lifetime, and some of them through interviews like this. I've asked them, who was the most influential person in your life? And I'm surprised to say that 60% of them told me they're teachers. And one of them was Mr. Steve Wozniak. He was a guest on my show, and I asked him, and I was very surprised when he told me his teacher, the one who kind of helped him get started making the computers and stuff like that. So I just am so, I admire you so much because you probably will not know until later on when the time will come where these kids will get up and tell you about the amazing difference you and the foundation has played in their lives. Because I've noticed with people when you, even as an individual myself, when you have a goal or something to work toward, it gives you a reason to wake up, whatever that is. What is that for you in your life? You've done so much.
Oh.
What is it that you wake up and go, I can't wait, I get out of my bed because I'm going to be doing what?
For me, it's a day-to-day, well, I love life. And for me, it's a day-to-day thing. I mean, I get up every morning excited to welcome the world and see what's happening. And so for me, it depends on what I'm doing that particular day. I try to stay pretty much in the moment. I'm very excited that I have a relationship with a concierge at the Fairmont Heritage. And so he's referring clients to me, and I'm sort of amazed. I'm like, wow, they want to go to the zoo? Okay, let's make it happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I get very excited about that. With a new business, you have no idea how clients are going to come.
Right.
And because of this relationship, right now they've asked me to figure out a wine experience during Crush at a winery, and they want it to be completely private and not accessible to the public. So I'm running around in my head thinking, okay, I have to look for a winery that doesn't have tastings, that is unique, that maybe all they do is grow grapes, but they will invite these people to their home,
right,
to sit down and drink their homemade wine,
yes,
and have a chef come. I mean, I got up this morning thinking about, wow, how am I going to create this? So I really like challenges. I like waking up and thinking, okay, I have something that I've never done before. Let's try it.
I like that. I'm the same way. So, there are always those people out there who've got their own opinions and always looking for, negative things. What would you say to the people that that might look at this interview or look at you and say, yeah, you're all those things because you are a daughter of a very successful person? What do you want to say to them?
No, that's not why.
Thank you.
The reason why I've had success, or the success that I've had right now, is because I learned how to persevere no matter what, regardless. And I learned that, I think, because of my dyslexia. I would look at words and I didn't know I knew what simple words were, but I didn't understand how people put whole sentences together. I didn't understand why there was a comma after certain things or whatever. Those things were so hard for me, and I really did not learn how to do any of that until I was in my mid-20s. I was 24 when I really started unraveling what dyslexia is, when I really started understanding what it was. And so perseverance is something that is given to you from all kinds of places, from teachers, from a neighbor, from the mailman, from a little pet that you once helped. It comes from everywhere. So perseverance is really everyone has it, everyone has that gift in them, and it just needs to be awakened by someone.
Thank you so much. Can you believe the time is up? I don't know where it goes when we're having fun, right? But anyway, I just thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
And if you, when you watch this show, I would like to say to you exactly what Susan has said. She's obviously someone who's worked very hard for all of her success, because I know what making a documentary is like and starting a new business. So once again, I've brought you another inspiring person, and I hope you will take something out of this that you can apply to your own life and have a better life. Thank you for watching the Jennylyn Show.